You don't have to be a kinesiologist, master's degree kind of dude to be able to understand that this cut of steak is much leaner than this one.
You just don't know how to track accurately. Now, some are, but Sam certainly is not. Been so stressed out recently, it's really nice to be able to sit down in the cart and have Sam just push me around the store. Master of Kinesiology mentioned, LOL, Greg's eyeballs raised. As if that wasn't the first thing that I noticed, is like, is Sam calling me out yet again? He's going over foods you're eating in the grocery store. It doesn't take somebody with a master's in kinesiology to figure out what to eat. You don't need to have studied this your entire life. You actually just need to care and to give a shit about your appearance.
19 days away from showtime, so not insignificant. You know, this is not like 3 months out. I can still kind of scrap around. I can still sort of eat whatever.
And so Sam is now 19 days out, which is 2 weeks and 5 days. And he rounds it down to basically that's 2 weeks. And if you round it down from 2 weeks, it's basically showtime tomorrow. The math adds.
But these last few weeks, my diet has gotten very, very simple and clean.
Yeah, I always like it when bodybuilders say that. My diet is clean. You know, in the off season, are you really eating off the floor? Like, I know there's a 5-second rule, but why is it that bodybuilders only eat clean when it's near showtime? If technically speaking, I don't think he eats very clean. The foods that he eats and the drinks, for example, the majority of his liquids is in the form of diet pop, aspartame, and artificial sweeteners, and most people don't consider that clean, but I personally, I do. I think it's great to assist with you dieting. It gets rid of the sweet cravings, and it's a liquid with low calories. Imagine in comparison having Gatorade, or imagine only drinking water. Who wants to have a diet where all you get to do is eat chicken, broccoli, and rice and water? I mean, how long are you going to follow that?
Oh man, you got me walking through the ramen aisle. Honestly, I would not mind a 6-pack of these. That's for the future.
Very important when you're shopping for food that you do so on a full stomach. When you're shopping on an empty stomach, very likely you're going to give in to some of your cravings. You're going to see some candy, some ice cream, and dessert, and thinking, oh, it's not that big a deal. You buy it, and then you live with regret.
You don't have to be a kinesiologist, master's degree kind of dude to be able to understand that this cut of steak is much leaner than this one.
It sounds good as he says this. You don't need a master's in kinesiology to understand this, which is true technically, but most people don't get it. I mean, most people, as in 95% of the world, and in fact, most coaches don't know how to accurately track calories. And so if you think that you're just going to be that person, well, you might. Perhaps there's a 5% chance you'll get it right, but most people don't know how to track calories, which is why so many people go on diets and they say that calorie deficits, that they don't work when they must work. They have to work. They will always work. You just don't know how to track accurately.
So I'm not aiming for anything too soft and kind of fatty like that.
And so the key with beet is the lower the cut of steak, the better. I don't care if it's in your off season or in your diet season. You're not at an advantage by having more grams of fat. Now, if you're trying to bulk, which most people shouldn't be doing, I still wouldn't advise it. Do you really want to get the majority of your fat from lard, saturated fat from animal meat? You really think that that is the most healthiest thing that you can do? As of late, it's been more debated. People saying, no, the butter, all that stuff, it's great for you. I don't believe that it is. And for my audience, who the majority are trying to be lean, not bulk up and get fat, you should try to pick the leanest cuts of steak. A filet mignon over a top sirloin, as he's picking, 2.5 pounds, it's going to save him about 250 calories and over 30 grams of fat. It might not sound like a lot, but if you're eating 2.5 pounds of meat every day, that's over 200 calories less just by selecting the lower cut of steak. Compounded over weeks, months, and years, that could make the difference between you being in a surplus or in a deficit.
But even just that visual cue is still apparent. 96% lean right here.
In the States, you're very, very lucky. 96% fat-free, only 4% fat. This is extremely low. In Canada, we don't have this. And so for us, extra lean still has 10% of the calories from fat. And so for every 100 grams is 10 grams of fat. In a pound, 45 grams of fat. 1 pound of ground beef, very easy to eat in a single sitting. And so you can quickly see the difference it can make if you think you're tracking your calories correctly and you're using a more fattier ground beef or a fattier cut of steak. It can completely throw off your numbers.
To someone who doesn't really think about that, the biggest difference between these two pieces of beef are just the fact that the container is different.
Advice I've been giving for multiple years is you always strain your ground beef. So you cook it in the pan, you're doing your thing, and before you're finished, you add water to it and you strain it out. Some people are going to complain and say, yeah, but you're getting rid of all the taste. Yeah, I get it. You're getting rid of the fat, which adds to the taste of the meat. But aren't you trying to eat a healthier diet? Aren't you trying to make it lower in calories? And so what you do is you remove the fat grams, you strain it out, and you add some condiments, some spices to make it taste better than last time while keeping the fat at bay.
If I didn't track that intramuscular fat, I could do an entire day of eating and I could think, hey, 2,500 calories, awesome. When in reality, I may have eaten an extra 40 or 50 grams of fats that just kind of snuck in that I didn't even know about.
An extra 50 grams of fat a day, which you easily could do if you're getting the wrong cut of steaks and or ground beef, it's 450 calories. And so you might think, I'm in a deficit, I'm only eating 2,500 calories. But in reality, it's 2,950. Add to that not properly measuring your condiments and certain things and just slapping in some butter and thinking, oh, that doesn't really count. Or cooking vegetables in oil. I've had so many clients do this in the past. I couldn't figure out why they weren't losing weight. Come to find out they're adding multiple tablespoons of oil with their broccoli at every single meal.
Like you really do have to be like a certified personal accountant.
And so that is why I keep telling you, it's not so much tracking the calories each and every day, it's being aware of the calories in the foods that you're eating and making appropriate choices. I'm not saying don't eat the fattier ground beef if that's what you like, but just be aware of the calories. You want the cheesecake? Eat the cheesecake, but know how many calories does it possess. And at the end of the day, everyone has to do the same thing. You have to be in a deficit to lose weight. And so if the scale doesn't go down, you aren't in the deficit. I'm sorry. Somebody has to be the bearer of bad news. And so what do you do the next week? You just eat less. You don't need to know it was 1,370 calories or 2,500 calories. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter!
The Rock knows it doesn't matter. What matters is that you either move more or eat less. You track your median weight, you circle it on the fridge. I'm doing this with Mepsigram. We're trying to gain her some weight right now. And so each and every week, if it goes up a little bit, then she's putting on size. And if her weight is going down, she needs to up the calories.
I don't want to drink my calories. I want to eat them. I want to actually feel full. But the convenience factor of the canned chicken has been insane. And I don't understand the hate for it.
One thing that Sam has never mentioned are his exact cycles. And what we do know is that in 2026, most bodybuilders, not saying every single one, but most are using a GLP-1. And so, for example, it could be retatrutide, it could be Ozempic, it could be terzipatide. If you do want some help with your dieting, we have GLP Max. It's going to decrease your cravings by approximately 28%. Go from being an 8 out of 10 hunger to a 6, which is much more manageable. And so if you're interested, code Greg for 15% off. Or of course, you can click on AlgoRx, use code Greg, and you can purchase various products to help you lose weight, various peptides. Perhaps you need enclomiphene, testosterone, Cialis, the list goes on and on. Remember, it's pharmaceutical and it's about half price of Merrick Health. And so please shop around, do your due diligence, and get only what you need.
Yeah, it's got a good chunk of sodium. If you drink a ton of water, that's not a problem.
And so honestly, the people who are going to be critical of him for eating chicken out of a can mixed in water, it's like, is it really that bad? I mean, is it as good as a fresh chicken breast? No, but it's close. Yeah, there's more sodium, but Sam is doing a lot of cardio, is drinking a lot of water. And so it's not a problem for him. Now, if you have heart difficulties and your surgeon is saying, hey, you have to go on a low sodium diet, well, that changes everything. But if you're going to sit there and be critical of him for choosing chicken in a can with water, while you're sitting there eating your poutine, your Jim Jam berries, and being critical of him, to top it off, you're probably drinking a beer. And so stop complaining about what other people are doing when you're doing 10 times worse yourself.
Yeah, how's this look? A good 6 cans of chicken.
I don't see the exact chicken that he's looking at, but one thing you need to be careful of is oftentimes it'll say, for example, 30 grams of protein per serving size of like 120 grams. And so if the can is 240 grams or 180 grams, you have to do some of the quick math. All the time people say your calories are wrong. Serving size, and it shows it on the container. I'm like, yeah, but there's more than one serving in the container. And so please don't make the mistake of thinking automatically that one serving is how many grams of protein is in the entire container. If you look at your can of tuna fish, you might be thinking the whole can is a serving, but what if it is not? And so you have to do your due diligence. You have to compare the weight of the product that you're measuring with the amount of grams in a serving. For example, Smart Pop popcorn, if it says each serving is 50 grams and the container weighs 70, you have to multiply by 1.4 times the calories listed. And so just because it says in the back, perhaps it's 160 calories, it may not be 160. You have to multiply it by how many servings are in total in the container.
But I am going to mix that with any sauce of your choosing, something low calorie.
You really got to be careful with the condiments. This can make or break you. If you're using regular sauces and ketchup, then you have no clue what you're doing, and you have no idea how much easier it could get for you if you started to diet effectively. Using sugary condiments, the calories are going to add up into the hundreds for every single one of you. If you actually look at how much ketchup you're actually using, or the barbecue sauces, mayonnaise, and so on, it can make or break your diet. Very important. So please examine the barbecue sauces. I've always liked Guy's barbecue sauce. I like my mustards. I like zero sugar added ketchup. It makes a significant difference. Look at the amount of calories in the sauce they're using. For example, I have about 900 bottles of Mrs. Buttersworth. I think it's expired from 2 years ago, but I'm going to have that for my millennia because that has so low calories, 120 versus around 20 calories per serving. And so you do the math. Imagine the calories that I'll be saving.
Like, I know it seems like you got to have OCD and just be completely super specific about everything.
And you do have to be OCD and worry about everything. If you want to track your calories this way, this is why I don't actually suggest it. Now, in my own personal coaching plans, I list out the exact meals that you can have. There's so many choices, over 100, and the calories, grams, everything is laid out. It tells you what kind of meat you can choose, or fish, or this or that, exact grammage. You don't have to worry about the calories of anything. It's clearly laid out, and every day you'll have an off meal plan. It doesn't have to be something on your diet, and we track your median weight. That is the answer. And so if you find meticulous calculating of all the calories, everything you put in your mouth to be too much, you actually don't have to do it. Track your weight. It gives you the actual results. That's the metric you're going for. Are you trying to lose weight or not? If you're trying to lose weight and your weight isn't going down, you're eating too much. That's simple. Eat less.
It's not like it's completely necessary. A lot of these guys, especially hardcore bodybuilders, they're always just chicken, rice, broccoli, keep it simple.
And so, yeah, simple stuff can work. Chicken, broccoli, and rice. You can do it. It's clearly worked for decades. But is it realistic? Is it something that you can follow? If chicken, broccoli, and rice was so great, why are most bodybuilders using Ozempic, tirzepatide, or Retta? Ask yourself, if it was that easy, why are people using GLP-1s? The answer is because it's not that easy. It's actually the hardest thing of bodybuilding is sticking to a diet. Why do you think most bodybuilders don't show up at 4% body fat? If it was that easy, just following a certain diet, then everyone would be doing it, but they're not. And so over the course of decades, I discovered exactly what you need to do in order to lose weight in the easiest manner for the most people to be able to succeed. It's in my cookbook. Got over 200 recipes. Remember, I've been doing these things since I was a teenager. It's over 30 years. And so if you want to get the hacks, you want to see about the anabolic French toast and other recipes, code Greg 15% off.
So 10 servings, 11 grams of protein, but 6 grams of carbs per serving. That means this whole bag has 60 grams of carbs. It's a little tricky. It's a little bit on the nose here.
What he just described is that it's got a little bit too many carbs for him. If he's only trying to get protein, it might be too many carbs for Sam. Now, for anyone else, not a bodybuilder, that would be an excellent choice. The whole bag has 110 grams of protein and only 60 grams of carbs. That's about double the protein as carbs. On what planet would that be a bad choice? Double the protein as carbs. That is a very high protein item. And so anyone, so professional bodybuilders, this could be a staple into your diet.
All the sweets behind me. I mean, look at all this. Like, I'm going to be eating this, just not right now. So I'll try not to think about it.
And so you can see he's in the candies aisle and so on. He's very hungry. And when you're bodybuilding on prep and you're a couple weeks out and you see these candies, things can go bad. It's happened many times that my clients have gone to the grocery store hungry and they're shopping, and all of a sudden it's, hey, I had a cheat last night and what do I do? And it's like, well, it happens. I warn you to not go shopping when you're very, very hungry, but the cheating, it does in fact happen for most people. Most pros don't want you to know this, but most are cheating on their diets, trust me. And so if it does happen, and you might hate me for this, but my advice is to make up for it with doing some extra cardio. Oh, that's bad advice. Just eat and move on. Why is that bad advice? If you ate an extra 1,000 calories, why not burn those calories off? Or at the very least, decrease the amount of calories in your next meal to make up for it. And so if you ate 3,000 calories and you're supposed to eat 2,500, the next day you could eat 2,000 calories, or you could eat the same 2,500 calorie diet that you're supposed to have, but add in an hour of cardio. And how is that bad? Oh, you're using cardio as a punishment. No, it's a reward. You ate an extra 500 calories that you perhaps shouldn't have. And as your reward, you get to do another hour of cardio. You get to go bike for an extra hour. How is that bad? You all villainize cardio. That is your problem. That's a you problem, not a me problem. I am going to eat 3,000 calories of a pizza. Okay, I don't want to gain weight. All right, well, I'm going to go ride my bike for 2 hours. No big deal. What is wrong with that? Oh, that's a sign of an ED. No, it's a sign of not being an idiot and or a moron, because if you just think you can eat in a surplus all the time and not have it cause you to gain weight, then what is wrong with you? This is actually how it works.
When it comes to the rice cakes, I've got some apple flavored ones at home already and some caramel ones.
Apple flavored caramel rice cakes and so on. Remember we talked about clean versus dirty foods? It's not a clean food to have a sugary rice cake. It's not.
It's just kind of crunch time, you know? Like, it's like you've got a final exam in a week. You almost have to really cram and lock in.
And so Sam is now cramming. He's locking in. It's the final home stretch. He's trying to get leaner than ever before. And so he's not going to succumb to the temptation of eating those candies. It's just like, it's a no. At a professional level, at 19 days out, you're not cheating on your diet. Now, some are, but Sam certainly is not.
But yeah, the theme of this last month of dieting, rice cakes, ground beef, steak, canned chicken, and then a bunch of just sugar-free drinks.
And so you heard his diet. He's listed it out exactly as it is. If I wanted to add to the quality of his diet, or perhaps you're trying to follow his diet or trying to lose weight yourself, maybe you're in show prep or you're perhaps just dieting for wedding downside, whatever. I would add in some fruits and vegetables. Those are low calorie dense foods. You get to eat a lot of it for hardly any calories. For example, strawberries, 200 calories for a pound of strawberries. It's a lot of food. It's a lot of volume, and it allows you to chew, to take part in eating and not have the meal over before it's done. Now, oftentimes you've probably heard this growing up. It takes maybe 15 minutes for your brain to realize how much you've eaten. And so if you just eat a lot of food too quickly, the signals haven't been sent to the brain yet to know that you're full. You might not even realize it. And so if you slow the eating down, you're drinking water before your meal, you're consuming strawberries and various vegetables and so on, you're going to slow down the speed at which you eat, and you're going to feel fuller sooner than last time. I see no dairy here whatsoever. I love me some cottage cheese, some Greek yogurt. Feel free to add in the Sugar Splenda packets. They're probably only adding 1 or 2 calories. Throw in the fruit in there. And for myself, I like to get a lot of healthy fats. I like avocado. I like fish. For example, you can get salmon or halibut or trout or something. And the fats from fish are very, very high in omega-3 fatty acids, essential fat, the kind that your body needs. Steak, not such a great choice. Not saying not to eat any steak, but you should be eating about 3 servings of fatty fish each and every week, for your health. Add into that some low-calorie almond milk. Perhaps it's got 30 calories per cup. Makes it feel like you're not really dieting. Rather than just thinking you can only eat 5 foods, rice cakes, beef, chicken, that's about it. Some beef jerky. Why not mix it up and have a little bit more variety? I do think that's healthier to diet, as well as it'll make your rebound after the show go that much smoother. And don't forget to include GO2 Max for improved cardio and making it feel easier than last time. You'll want to do it that much more, as well as Turk Builder Max if you do plan on competing or training natural and you want every advantage you can get. Increased energy, endurance, recovery, and strength, aggression in the gym. This is what you want straight from Uzbekistan. It's not the copycat plant cyanosis that others have been selling. This is the legit Uzbekistanian turkesterone from Ajuga turkistanica that you have all been after. Code Greg, 15% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm, comment away, like, and subscribe. Watch 2 of those videos. We're looking for more sponsored athletes than last time. And if you want to get sponsored, please click the link. If you've been following, using our supplements and you enjoy them, why not become part of the team? If you're into being an ambassador as well, you can apply. And as well, those of you who want to carry HLT supplements into your stores and or gyms, you can also click that link. And until next time, I'm out.